I like it because I know one thing for certain is that if you do get married, you must commit yourself to that.
Cliff Richard, the voice that launched a musical revolution. But beneath the spotlight, a hidden story unfolds. Of a love that never found its place, a faith that defied an era, and a betrayal that shook the world. In 2014, his life unraveled on live TV, yet he rose, unbroken, to sing again. This is the tale of a man who faced heartbreak and humiliation, yet kept inspiring millions. Join us to uncover the truth behind the legend. In 1940, as war tore through the world and India stood on the cusp of freedom, a boy was born in Lucknow who would become a legend. His name was Harry Webb, but he'd soon be known as Cliff Richard, a man whose voice would ignite a musical revolution, whose faith would defy a rebellious era, and whose heart would carry a secret pain that few could imagine. How did a child of colonial India become Britain's first rock star? The answer lies in a journey of grit, talent, and unshakable resolve. Born on October 14, 1940, in King George's Hospital, Lucknow, Harry Roger Webb arrived in a world of chaos. World War II raged, and India's push for independence was intensifying. His father, Roger, managed catering for the Indian Railways, while his mother, Dorothy, worked as a dormitory matron. They lived comfortably in Howrah near Kolkata, but by 1948, the tides of history forced a change. As India broke free from British rule, the Webbs joined hundreds of families aboard the SS Ranchi, sailing 3 weeks to a new life in England. What awaited them was a stark contrast to the sunlit days of their past. Landing in post-war Britain, the Webbs faced a grim reality. They settled first in Carshalton in Surrey, then moved to Waltham Cross, and finally to Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, in a modest council house. Cliff later recalled their struggle. "We arrived with £5. 3 meals a week were a soup bowl with toast soaked in tea." This hardship forged a resilience in young Harry, a spark that would soon set the music world ablaze. Could a boy from such humble beginnings redefine an entire industry? In Cheshunt, Harry discovered rock and roll, its raw energy pulsing through the airwaves from America. He formed a band, catching the eye of manager Harry Greatorex, who saw star potential. Greatorex proposed a bold new name, Cliff, evoking the strength of a cliff face, symbolizing rock. The surname Richard, suggested by songwriter Ian Samwell, paid homage to Little Richard, the American icon whose wild spirit inspired them. Harry Webb vanished, and Cliff Richard was born, a name destined to echo through history. On August 29, 1958, Cliff unleashed Move It, a track that hit Britain like a thunderbolt. At just 18, he delivered a raw, rebellious sound that soared to number 2 on the UK charts. John Lennon later declared, "Before Cliff Richard and Move It, there was nothing worth listening to in England." This wasn't just a song, it was the birth of British rock and roll. Fans went wild, and pandemonium swept through London, Manchester, and Leeds. Girls screamed, boys fumed, and security scrambled to contain the chaos dubbed Cliff Hysteria. Had Britain found its own Elvis? The frenzy only grew. In 1959, Cliff released Living Doll, a song he initially resisted for its soft tone. Reworked as a slow country-style ballad, it topped the charts for 6 weeks, selling 770,000 copies. Hot on its heels, Travelin' Light claimed number 1 for 5 weeks, pushing Cliff's record sales past 1 million, a first for any British artist. The industry was stunned. How could one man dominate so completely? Cliff wasn't content to stay in one lane. At 19, he starred in Serious Charge, 1959, a daring film tackling heavy themes like false accusations and societal taboos. It shocked fans that their teen idol took such a risk, but Cliff was determined to be more than a singer. He followed with Espresso Bongo, 1959, a sharp satire of the music industry, proving his acting chops. Then came Summer Holiday in 1963, a cultural juggernaut. Its London premiere drew 3,000 fans, so chaotic that Cliff couldn't even attend. The soundtrack ruled the charts for 14 weeks, with hits like Summer Holiday, The Next Time, and Bachelor Boy all reaching #1. The film was the second biggest British box office hit of 1963, trailing only from Russia with Love. Could anyone stop this rising star? As the Beatles stormed the world in 1964, many predicted Cliff's fade into obscurity. Yet he defied the odds, releasing 5 top 10 hits, including Constantly and On the Beach, outpacing the Fab Four's 3 chart toppers that year. Paul McCartney once admitted, "We left for Hamburg because Cliff had everything sewn up in Britain." Cliff's charm and versatility kept him in the spotlight, even as Beatlemania raged. Was he truly untouchable? In 1965, the New Musical Express poll crowned Cliff Britton's top male singer, a nod to his enduring appeal amid a changing musical landscape. Fans adored his ability to evolve without chasing trends, blending pop ballads with genuine charisma. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. On June 16, 1966, Cliff stepped onto the stage at Earl's Court, not to perform a rock anthem, but to stand beside evangelist Billy Graham and declare, "I am proud to tell everyone that I am a Christian." Before 25,000 people, he sang "It's No Secret," a religious pop song, and joined in prayer. Thousands more gathered outside, and Cliff spoke to them too, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. In the swinging 60s, when rock stars were expected to rebel, this was a radical act. Fans were stunned, some fearing he'd abandon music for a quieter life. Perhaps as a teacher. Would this bold move end his career? Cliff faced whispers that he couldn't be both a spiritual man and a pop icon, yet he refused to choose. Instead, he carved a new path, blending faith with music in a way no major artist had done before. His decision to stay in the spotlight would redefine what it meant to be a star. But what challenges lay ahead for a man who dared to be different? Some hearts carry secrets that echo through a lifetime, shaping every note and choice. In 1966, Cliff Richard stood before thousands, declaring his faith and redefining his path as Britain's rock pioneer. But behind the spotlight, a quiet longing defined his personal life, a love that never found its home. For decades, he poured his soul into music, only to face a storm in 2014 that threatened to unravel everything. How did this icon endure heartbreak and public scrutiny to remain a beloved figure? After his bold stand at Earl's Court, Cliff faced a world that questioned whether a pop star could embrace faith and still shine. Whispers swirled that he might trade the stage for a quieter life, perhaps as a teacher. Yet, he chose a different road, weaving his beliefs into his music. By 1967, he released Time for Me to Come Home, a gospel-tinged album that surprised critics and fans alike. It peaked at number 6 on the UK charts, proving his versatility. Could he balance his spiritual convictions with the demands of stardom? His personal life, however, held a deeper story. Cliff never married, a choice rooted in a profound, unspoken devotion. Rumors suggest he carried a torch for Una Stubbs, a dancer and actress who became a close friend in the 1960s. She married another, then another, yet their bond endured, marked by a quiet intimacy that fueled speculation. Cliff once hinted at a love that never quite worked out, leaving fans to wonder about the woman who held his heart. When Una passed in 2021, Cliff's grief was palpable, a silent testament to a connection that shaped his solitude. What kept him from building a family of his own? Through the 1970s, Cliff's career soared despite the changing musical landscape. Hits like We Don't Talk Anymore in 1979 topped the UK charts, selling over 1 million copies worldwide. He performed at sold-out venues from London's Royal Albert Hall to international stages, his charisma undimmed. Yet he remained a private figure, his faith guiding his choices. He supported charities, including Tear Fund, and spoke openly about his beliefs, earning respect as a trailblazer who defied rock's rebellious mold. How did he maintain such resilience amid personal sacrifice? The 1980s brought new triumphs. Cliff's duet with Olivia Newton-John, Suddenly for the Xanadu soundtrack showcased his adaptability. He earned a knighthood in 1995, the first pop star to receive the honor, cementing his status as a national treasure. His 100th album, Stronger, in 1989, spawned hits like The Best of Me, proving he could compete with younger artists. Fans flocked to his concerts, drawn to his timeless appeal, but could his past ever catch up with him? In August 2014, a storm broke over Cliff's life. Police searched his Berkshire home following serious allegations, broadcast live by the BBC in a move later criticized as a breach of privacy. The claims, which Cliff vehemently denied, were ultimately dismissed in 2016, with no charges filed. He later won a landmark legal case against the BBC, securing damages for their sensationalist coverage, as reported by The Guardian. The ordeal took a toll. Cliff lost weight, battled shingles, and felt his home was no longer a sanctuary. "I couldn't sleep," he admitted in a 2018 interview. How could a man who once commanded stadiums face such a public betrayal? The aftermath was grueling. Cliff spoke of feeling tainted, his confidence shaken. Yet he refused to be defined by the scandal. In 2018, he released Rise Up, an album born from his resilience, with the title track hitting the UK top 10. Fans rallied behind him, their loyalty unwavering. His faith, too, remained a cornerstone, guiding him through the darkest days. What strength did he draw upon to rebuild? Reflecting on his journey, one must look back to understand his fortitude. Born in 1940 in Lucknow, India, Cliff, then Harry Webb, faced upheaval early on. His family's move to England in 1948, aboard the SS Ranchi, traded colonial comfort for post-war austerity. Settling in Cheshunt, Hertfordshire, young Harry found solace in music, a spark that ignited with Move It in 1958. That raw anthem, which John Lennon called the birth of British rock, set Cliff on a path to stardom. His early films like Summer Holiday and chart battles with the Beatles cemented his legacy. But it was his 1966 faith declaration that truly shaped his future. How did those early struggles forge the man who faced 2014 storm? Cliff's ability to endure came from a blend of grit and grace. His 1960s triumphs, outpacing the Beatles with hits like Constantly, showed his competitive spirit. Yet his personal life remained private, his heart tethered to a love that never fully bloomed. The 2014 ordeal tested that resilience, but Cliff emerged stronger, his music a testament to his survival. By 2025, at 85, he continues to captivate, embarking on his Can't Stop Me Now tour across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, as announced on Cliff Richard's official website. His recent contribution to a BBC Arts series aired in January 2025, and the release of Live in Berlin 1970 further prove his enduring relevance. The 1966 Declaration of Faith at Earl's Court set Cliff on a path few could have predicted, blending spirituality with stardom. Through the 1970s and 1980s, he soared with hits like We Don't Talk Anymore and earned a knighthood, proving his staying power. But his heart carried a quieter story, one of deep connection with Olivia Newton-John. Their duets, like Suddenly from Xanadu in 1980, captured a magic that resonated worldwide. For over 50 years, their voices intertwined, a harmony of friendship that culminated in a poignant performance at Cliff's 75th birthday concert in 2015 at the Royal Albert Hall. Olivia, radiant as ever, joined him for Suddenly, a moment fans still cherish. 3 weeks before her passing in August 2022, Cliff called her, finding her voice warm and cheerful despite her long battle with breast cancer. "Good day, Cliff. How are you, darling?" she said, masking her struggle. Her death at 73 left Cliff reeling as he wrote on Facebook, "I find myself at a loss as to what to say. How does one carry on when a lifelong friend is gone?" The pain of loss was not new to Cliff, but the events of 2014 brought a different kind of anguish. On August 14th, while in Portugal, he turned on the television to a chilling sight. Helicopters hovering over his Berkshire home, police rummaging through his belongings, broadcast live by the BBC. The accusation tied to a 1985 Billy Graham rally was baseless, claiming an incident in a room that didn't exist. Yet, the spectacle was relentless, fueled by a secret deal between the BBC and South Yorkshire Police. Cliff, then 73, watched in horror, later telling, "I felt like I was going to have a heart attack." The investigation dragged on for 22 months, costing $800,000, only to collapse with no charges. The BBC's audacity submitting their coverage for a journalism award added insult to injury. Cliff's response was music, his refuge since childhood. In 2018, he released Rise Up, an album born from his ordeal, its title track soaring into the UK top 10. Fans rallied, their devotion unwavering, as he rebuilt his life note by note. His faith, a constant since 1966, anchored him, guiding him through the storm. Reflecting on his journey, we see a boy born in 1940 in Lucknow, India, who faced upheaval early on. The move to England in 1948, the spark of Move It in 1958, and his battles with the Beatles forged a legend. Those early trials built a man who could face 2014 and emerge stronger. How does one turn pain into purpose? Today, Cliff's legacy shines brighter than ever. In 2025, at 85, he embarks on his Can't Stop Me Now tour across Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, as announced on Cliff Richard's official website. His contribution to a BBC art series in January 2025 and the release of Live in Berlin 1970 prove his enduring relevance. But what of the man behind the music? Cliff's wealth, estimated at $50 million, reflects a life of savvy choices. He once owned a 1963 Corvette Stingray, a classic sold at auction, and likely drives other luxury vehicles. While his watch collection remains private, like stars of his stature often own timepieces from Rolex or Patek Philippe, valued in the tens of thousands. His real estate includes a sprawling Portugal property, a haven after selling his Berkshire home, post-2014. Business ventures in music production and real estate, alongside charitable work with Tearfund and World Vision, diversify his portfolio. Collaborations with artists like Olivia Newton-John have bolstered his brand, and he likely holds comprehensive insurance for his assets and health. His financial lessons, diversification, resilience, and philanthropy offer a blueprint for enduring success. Cliff Richard's story is one of triumphs and trials, a testament to a man who faced heartbreak, betrayal, and scrutiny, yet never lost his spark. From his early days in India to his 2025 tour, he has woven faith, music, and grit into a legacy that inspires. Cliff Richard's journey from colonial India to rock legend shows us that faith, music, and resilience can conquer even the darkest storms. The more we depend on God, the more dependable we find He is, he once said. What's your favorite Cliff Richard memory? Share it in the comments and subscribe for more untold stories of icons who shaped our world. His legacy? A voice that echoes through time, a spirit that never breaks.